Well, hello there, Evan. My name is Adam. Welcome back to Golden Sun. Last time we left off, we were in the middle of quite a predicament here with a very unpleasant decision hanging over our heads. Do we give these artifacts of unfathomable power to these two individuals that are, well, very obviously nefarious and willing to do whatever it takes just to save our friends, or do we do the smarter thing and not hand them over? And, well, after thinking about it, the choice is clear. Even if we did refuse to hand them over, as we've seen, these two have no problems with murdering children. And even with the strange masked man there, it would be a 2-against-1 fight. Even if he was somehow as strong as these two, I think he'd get overwhelmed. So, with that in mind, there's really only one option. They're going to get these things either way, so we might as well take the option that's more likely to guarantee our friend's safety. We'll hand them over. Of course, Kraden doesn't agree with this plan. I'm not really fond of it either, but it's the best of a bad situation. Now, this is a good point. We don't really have any guarantee just yet that things will go our way. But it seems Minardi has an idea. That idea being that our masked individual here will have to remove his mask. He seems rather distressed about this fact for some reason. I wonder why that could be. Given the circumstances, of course, there's not very many better options. And so, Felix, remove your mask. Naturally, this is very shocking to everyone involved, and to anyone following along at home, that should also be quite surprising because, as we all know, Felix, well, we didn't actually see him die, but we never did find anything of him either. It's quite strange, but they do insist on calling him Felix, so could it be? Is this Jenna's brother? Is he alive after all this time? 3 years is a long time. We did never find his body, as they pointed out. So, well, the masked man is about to unmask. Jenna is very obviously quite shaken up by this development. And it seems that this is, in fact, Felix. We never did get to see his portrait 3 years ago, but, well, it's pretty obvious that this is who this is. Jenna definitely recognizes him after all. And for some reason, this, well, very mysterious and unpleasant couple was the one who saved him. Now, why exactly they saved him is rather mysterious. Maybe it goes to prove that they're not all bad after all. They're just willing to do whatever it takes. A common trend for antagonistic characters that aren't actually villains. But So far, these two have done very villainous things. Whether that actually makes them villains or not, well, I guess only time will tell. And it seems they're willing to bet on Felix being their guarantee. So, does this mean Felix is capable of standing up to these two? Or, well, would he just do something unpredictable? Well, I guess we'll find out soon enough. In the meantime, though, we don't really have any choice. We'll give the elemental stars to them. Isaac hands them over to Garrett, who volunteers to take them. But, along the way, he's interrupted by some strange teleporting man, who apparently is named Alex. Don't you just hate strange teleporting men named Alex? They always show up at the worst times. And so, Garrett hands over the elemental stars to Alex, who must apologize in advance. And, of course, we have to go fetch the last elemental star as well. And, of course, Garrett has to continue having his shining moments of brilliance. But Alex isn't having it. And Garrett points out in typical protagonist logic that they did say they'd set Jenna free once we gave them the elemental stars. They promised, in fact. But Satiros is quick to clarify. Once they get all the elemental stars, that was the agreement they made. And so, we don't really have any choice. More work for us, thankless as it is. So Garrett hops back over to join us. We are not really too happy about this whole development, but given the circumstances, we don't really have much other choice. Well, this was the wrong way. Looks like we'll have to go the long way around. But, yes, we don't really have much choice here. Even if we refuse to hand over the elemental stars to these guys, they've already proven they're strong enough to take us out without even trying. Sure, Isaac and Garrett have gotten much stronger over the past 3 years, but it's nowhere near strong enough to take on someone like those two. Especially not now that they have a friend in the form of this Alex. And so, even if we did refuse to hand over the elemental stars, they would probably still get their hands on them regardless, just by taking them from us after the fact. But it seems now something unexpected has happened. Taking the last elemental star has caused things to go rather explodey. Satiros is quite disturbed, and the water's gone. And it seems that without the energy of the elemental stars, the entire chamber is collapsing. Is this the terrible retribution the villagers spoke of? No, no, no. Obviously, as a trained alchemy sage, Kraden knows this must be more of alchemy's power. Whatever it is, it seems to have stopped, for now. But it's not over. Egads, what is that? And it's a giant floating rock with an eyeball in it, and I have no idea what the heck that is. Looks like someone is using synergy to lift it, but the wise one? Oh, Kraden, please do share your wisdom with us. The rest of the class would like to know. Apparently, whatever it is, it's very powerful. Eep. Well, given the way that it appeared, this is a logical conclusion to make, being the guardian of the elemental stars. Although if it was, you'd think it would have appeared before they were all taken. Usually a guardian of something tries to stop them from being taken. But, well, maybe he was just very deeply asleep and it took him a while to wake up. But this does bring to mind a very good point. We've seen how strong Sataros and Minardi are, and given that they're in the same team, we can assume Alex is at least a similar level of strength. And even all three of them together are no match for this Guardian. Which should put into perspective just how powerful this Guardian must be. But it seems, well, they're planning on just running away and ditching us. And Alex comes up with a delightfully nefarious plan. If these other two aren't evil, I'm quite certain that he definitely is. He has a much more calm and menacing vibe to him. Whereas the other two are just willing to do whatever it takes, he seems to be deliberately cold and cruel. Felix is incredibly unhappy about this development, of course, and even accuses him of breaking their promise, but, well, conditions certainly have changed. No one could have predicted the appearance of this wise one, or this guardian. But Kraden is more than willing to let himself be taken prisoner, but doesn't really care much for Jenna being taken hostage as well. Of course, it's not like there's very much he can do. And of course, if they leave Jenna, she is very likely to die. And I don't think Felix wants that. I don't think anyone wants that. But perhaps this is a conversation best carried on elsewhere. Somewhere that isn't about to imminently lapse or explode or something. So, of course, leaving now seems like a very wise idea. Of course, pushing Felix's sister is not a good idea. Even though he does owe them his life and there's not very much that they can do. And of course, Kraden will be joining them. Not that he has any say in the matter, really. And Sataros goes in first, presumably so there's someone on the other side to keep watch on them and so they can't all just run away. Then Kraden, then Minardi. Jenna gives one last final well-wish to her friends before she heads through as well. Without a word, Felix heads off. Quite obsessed with that Mars star. But, again, Alex gives some vaguely unsettling foreshadowing. Comedy. How they both managed to hide out behind that statue, especially the upper half of it like that, is quite a mystery. But regardless, Isaac and Garrett are both still alive and well, somehow or other. But Jenna and Kraden have both disappeared. And, well, given that if they do hurt Jenna and Kraden, it's unlikely we'd cooperate and give them the Mars star, I don't think they will. Of course, Garrett's faith in Felix is perhaps somewhat misplaced. And yes, this situation really is quite terrible. We've got a long way to go if we want to get out of here. So we should get moving. But it seems things are still happening. We are indeed in big trouble. We should get moving. Oh goodness, it's that thing again. The Eye. The Guardian. And of course, it wants to know why we're standing here. This place has become dangerous. Of course, Garrett is quite angry, most likely out of some combination of fear and adrenaline, I would imagine. And everything starts exploding and getting all fiery again, but seems the wise one there uses some synergy to quell the eruption. But even he cannot hold it for long. Naturally, we must leave this place very quickly. But something seems to be going on. Oh, the elemental Jinn have returned. Lovely. We are asked to take out the elemental star, so we do so. And the Guardian does something to it, and we put it back in the bag. The other elemental stars are moving away from here, presumably with the others. Without the power of the elemental stars to contain it, the magma flows freely once again, and this chamber is collapsing. That doesn't sound very good at all. There will be no chamber for the elemental stars to return to. The world will be exposed to the threat of alchemy. Now, how exactly is alchemy a threat? Well, obviously it can be dangerous if misused, but couldn't the same be said for any other source of power? But it seems that if the elemental stars ignite the flames of the 4 lighthouses, then the power of alchemy will be released. But as long as the 4 lighthouses remain unlit, I'm going to assume he was going to say that won't happen. If lighting them releases that power, then making sure they stay unlit would, by logical conclusion, mean that power is not unleashed. And as we can see here, it seems like things are heating up. The volcano is erupting. But how are we supposed to run from this? And the Guardian agrees to help us. With what is essentially a more powerful form of the retreat synergy that we have at our disposal. And it seems that thing did save us. At least partially. But we still have to get out of here. So with that said, let's use our own version of that retreat synergy. And simply flee. Back to the entrance we go, and away we go, running back to town. Naturally, everyone in town thought that Mount Aleph was inactive. And of course, the mayor is quite concerned for Garrett. But no one even knows if he's up there. After all, we didn't exactly tell anyone. But someone saw us climbing the mountain. And the healer here admits that we were hanging around while he was on guard duty. But Isaac's mom knows that we went to Creighton's house. And they did say they were studying alchemy. But what does that have to do with the eruption? Well, whatever it has to do with things, we look quite guilty just wandering back down. But it isn't like we can just go back up. We have to go face the music. One way or the other. Especially as it seems we've been spotted now. So, we don't really have any other options. So, down we go. Where have we been indeed? What happened? Oh, a great many things happened. They were with us, yes. But, well, we have a long story to tell. And yes, we will indeed tell you everything that happened, but could we rest for a bit first, maybe? Please? Unfortunately, it seems not. We're getting dragged right into this. Even while the mountain is still erupting and exploding in the background. So, we head into the Sanctum, and Isaac and Garrett will do their best to explain everything. Isaac even shows the Mars star that he still has. Naturally, this is all quite a very animated tale, and everyone finds it quite hard to digest the truth of the matter. Or maybe they're just completely speechless at Isaac and Garrett's antics. It's hard to be sure. It seems that even the people that were living in this town and keeping watch over the Sanctum didn't really have any idea about the true parts of it. Maybe that was for the best, but maybe it was also kind of a bad idea. But, as Dora points out, Jenna and Kraden are technically prisoners now, yes. Yes, they've been taken against their will. That is what it means to be a prisoner, Dora. Oh, I'm quite certain they can be saved, yes. I'm sure Felix will do everything that he can, but don't really know just how well he'll do in the end. And the Great Healer has been very quiet for a long time. Did something happen? And it seems that the hovering stone, the one that Kraden called the Wise One, and that Satoros, Minardi, and Alex called the Guardian of the Elemental Stars. Something about it. It seems that the Great Healer has seen it before, in his dreams. And in his mind's eye, it appeared again just now and spoke to him. This is, of course, quite a surprise. And the Great Healer also agrees that it must be the Wise One, the Guardian of the Elemental Stars. It told the Great Healer what happened to us in Saul's Sanctum. And, of course, the mayor wants to know what the Wise One says about the eruption. Will the volcano destroy the town? The Great Healer receives another vision. It's impossible to stop the eruption now. And of course, that means that Vale will be... But Vale will be safe. The Wise One will be able to at least prevent the lava from reaching the town. A small favor, perhaps, but a very welcome one. But it seems that's far from all. There's still more the Great Healer has to tell us. Apparently, something even more dreadful than Vale's destruction looms ahead. Naturally, the question becomes, what could be worse than the destruction of Vale? A terrible power. The elemental star gems house incredible power. And Vale has been guarding those gems. And the elemental lighthouses will loose that power upon the world. Once the power of the gems has been released, the whole world will... Oh dear. The Wise One wants us to get the gems back, doesn't he? But no, it seems that this world is ours, whether we choose to save it or destroy it. Our inaction may bring about its destruction. What a pity indeed. But we cannot hope for salvation. We must save ourselves. So, what exactly can we do? Acquiring the elemental stars is apparently our fate alone. And of course this means that the Great Healer is suggesting we place the fate of the world in the hands of Isaac and Garrett. Now, of course this was our fault, intentionally or not, but still, Isaac and Garrett are only children. Teenagers, perhaps, but it seems a bit much. However, the Wise One has spoken, and we do share responsibility for this. So, it's time to make our decision. Garrett is clueless, and leaves it to us. So, well, now it's time for... Will we accept responsibility for the fate of the lamb? Another monumental choice. And this one, unlike most other choices in the game, actually does have some impact on things. But it is a very, very important choice. So, I think, unfortunately, much like the last video left off on a choice, this one is going to have to leave off on a choice as well. We'll think long and hard about this, whether we choose to accept responsibility for the fate of the entire world, and we'll make our answer next time. So, until then, well, until then. See you next time, everyone.